Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS, continuing on with college football week 12, Wednesday action, 3 games. One of them's terrible. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWAS. The SWAS. SWAS. Hey, get the SWAS.
First up, we're starting with a terrible game. We got Kent State on the road at Miami of Ohio here. The line is 30.5 in a MAC game. This is a conference game. This isn't Alabama against Kent State. This is Miami of Ohio against Kent State. Total sitting at 46.5. Take a look at the matchup here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about this one. Very clear mismatch. Kent State, pretty much rock bottom of the FBS. If it wasn't for Kennesaw State, who's even shown some signs of life, they beat Liberty. This might be the worst team in the entire FBS against the defending MAC conference champions. So yeah, the line's warranted. I'm not betting this trash. Let's move on to the next one. Next up is Eastern Michigan on the road at Ohio. Bobcats are now laying 10.5, so the 9.5s are gone. Shit, I wanted one. Total sitting at 50.5. Let's get into this matchup. You know what? Question. Those of you that have been betting football for years, question for you. So obviously, you want to get on the lines early, right? At open, the weekend before. The problem I'm having, or the problem I've been having for a couple years, I don't know how everyone is ready to bet those lines so earlier in the week. It takes me a few days to get through all the games. I don't get to the late Saturday night games until Wednesday. So how are you guys prepared to make those bets on Saturday? Because I've tried it, and what ends up happening is I end up placing bets where when I get to that game and go through it, I kind of wish I was on the other side. I'm not always on the side I wanted to be on. I end up placing bets that a few days later I don't necessarily even like when I've gotten a chance to really do a deep dive on the game. So just curious what people's strategies are. Drop it in the comments. How are you guys ready to bet the slate at open? But anyway, let's get back to this matchup. We'll start with Eastern Michigan's offense against Ohio's defense. Eastern Michigan is an offense that wants to throw the ball. These numbers look pretty balanced. They're 103rd in yards per carry, 85th in success rate per rush. Passing numbers slightly better, 89th in yards per pass attempt, 64th in success rate per dropback. Matched up against a Bobcat defense that looks to be weaker against the pass, and that's probably true. These numbers may be skewed a bit. 50th in yards per pass attempt, 86th in success rate per dropback. So at first glance, this might look like a favorable matchup for Eastern Michigan offensively. Another thing Eastern Michigan does, by the way, I forgot to mention it, they run an extremely fast pace, second in pace, which is why the EMU games are always super high scoring, because they run a million miles an hour. They throw the ball, they run really fast pace. So anyway, at first glance, it might look like a favorable matchup for Eastern Michigan. Cole Snyder likes to throw the ball. Ohio has been weaker against the pass. Here's why that might not necessarily be the case. So in week 8, Ohio went on the road to Miami of Ohio. Very efficient throwing day for Gabbard in that one. 8.5 yards per attempt, 61.9% success rate per dropback. Keep in mind, this Ohio team also played Syracuse early in the season. The point I'm making is there's a couple bad games that are skewing the numbers. If you look at their last 5 games as a whole, they're allowing just 164.8 passing yards per game, 5.94 yards per pass attempt, 42% success rate per dropback. So when you look at the season-long numbers for Ohio defensively against the pass, you might think, oh, Cole Snyder can throw the ball on this pass defense. I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. I think Ohio has a pretty solid defense across the board. Also, Ohio runs a lot of zone coverage, actually 5th most in the FBS, 5th in zone coverage frequency. Cole Snyder's passing numbers on the year, much better against man coverage. You see the numbers on the right side of the bottom right of this graphic. Those are his numbers against zone, definitely better against man. Not to mention, Ohio has a pass rush. 44th in pressure rate, 57th in sack rate, 22nd in pass rush grade. So even though Cole Snyder has scored some points and the Eastern Michigan offense has looked pretty good at times on the road at Ohio here, I don't really like it. I think Cole Snyder's going to have a rough day. But what about on the other side of the ball? What do we think of the matchup for the Ohio offense? Well, we've kind of seen multiple chapters of this Ohio offense so far this year. Started off the season, the run game looked pretty good, and that's what the season-long numbers reflect. 8th in yards per carry, 36th in success rate per rush, 41st in effective rush. Passing numbers look kind of weak, 82nd, 81st, 111th. But again, we've seen this Ohio offense go through a few stages here. There were the early weeks with Parker Navarro before he got benched. Then Parker Navarro got benched, Then Parker Navarro got his job back, and I'll show you the numbers on that. Since he got his job back, this Ohio offense seems to be operating with a new energy. Regardless, this Eastern Michigan defense isn't any good. 119th in yards per play, 110th in success rate. They struggle against the run, struggle against the pass. There's not many positives here for the Eastern Michigan defense. In the last 4 games, they've had no answers for the run, allowing 6.27 yards per carry, 44% success rate per rush, over 217 rushing yards allowed per game. And if you look at the numbers here from the Ohio offense, look at the first 7 games before Navarro got benched. 21.9 points per game, 42.5% success rate, 5.72 yards per play. Not terrible, not very good. Look at the last 2 games since Navarro has been benched and got his job back. 44 points per game, over 50% success rate, 6.89 yards per play. So again, since Parker Navarro got his starting quarterback job back, this Ohio offense seems to be different. I mean, it's only been 2 games, but 44 points per game. I mean, we're seeing much better production in the last couple weeks. Combine that with the fact that this Ohio run game has been pretty dominant, pretty reliable for basically the entire season. They should be able to move the ball just fine against an Eastern Michigan defense that isn't any good. So although the 9.5s are gone, I still see a 10 out there. Give me that. Eastern Michigan minus 10. I also am not mad at Ohio minus 10. Wow. Ohio minus 10. I'm also not mad at an Ohio team total over. It's pretty high. It's pretty expensive, but I think they score on most of their drives here. So I like Ohio. Next game. Akron on the road at Northern Illinois. NIU laying 15.5 or 15, depending on your sports book. This number was higher than that. Looks like it's been bought down. Some Akron money came in, or at least that's what it indicates. Total sitting at 45, pretty much 45.5 across the board. Let's get into this matchup. We'll start with the Akron offense against the NIU defense. At first glance, this looks like a terrible matchup for the Zips offense. They're 117th in overall OFEI, 106 in yards per play, 106 in success rate. Not particularly good on the ground, not really good through the air either. Against an NIU defense that's probably, I mean, they might be right there with Miami of Ohio in terms of best defense in the conference. They're 9th in yards per play, 34th in success rate, great against the run, great against the pass, sitting at 46 in DFEI. This Akron offense is sitting at 16th in pass frequency, so this is an offense that wants to throw the ball. The problem is they're so outmatched in terms of their offensive line against the NIU defensive front. I don't know if they're able to protect the passer in this game. Northern Illinois should have no problem generating pressure. That being said, this Akron offense seems to have found some new life. Check this out. Through their first 6 games, they were averaging just 15.2 points per game, success rate under 35%, just 4.32 yards per play. Look at their last 3 games. Over 26 points per game, success rate almost up at 48%, just under 7 yards per play. Out of nowhere, the Zips are moving the ball. Look at the passing numbers. First 6 games, 194 yards per game, 5.45 yards per attempt, success rate per dropback at 33%. Last 3 games, success rate per dropback over 48%, 8.6 yards per attempt, over 316 passing yards per game. Does this Akron offense have a passing attack now? Here's the problem with that. Not only is Northern Illinois' defense elite, but they seem to be playing their best football right now. In their last 4 games, they're allowing just 18.3 points per game, 4.86 yards per play, 41.4% success rate. Look at the opponents. Bowling Green, Toledo, Ball State, who's actually playing better offensively, and Western Michigan. Those are arguably the best 4 offenses in the conference. They're playing good MAC offenses. They're shutting them all down. Look at the pass defense numbers. We just mentioned how Akron's been throwing the ball recently. Well, in their last 4 games, they're allowing under 163 passing yards per game, success rate per dropback under 38%. That's against Bowling Green with Bazelak, Toledo, Ball State with Samanza. They've been throwing it. Western Michigan can throw the ball a little bit. So this NIU defense is playing on another planet right now, and they've been elite defensively at home all season, allowing 17.8 points per game, 4.71 yards per play, 32.3% success rate in their home games. So as much as I'd love to buy in on this newly found Akron passing attack, on the road in NIU, I can't do it. This is a really tough matchup for Akron. They play Toledo the last game of the year. Akron does. Maybe we buy in on the Akron offense then, but not here, not on the road in NIU. But what about on the other side of the ball? We talked about how elite this Northern Illinois defense has been. That does not describe the offense. In fact, NIU's having all kinds of offensive problems this year. They're just 116 yards per play, 29th in success rate. Run game has been okay, 45th in yards per carry, 23rd in success rate per rush, 76th in effective rush. The passing attack has been a nightmare. We've seen Ethan Hampton have all kinds of problems getting the passing attack going this year. I believe he even got benched at one point, or he may have got hurt for a game. correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he got benched in there. This NIU offense has become extremely one-dimensional. Now, you might be saying, who cares? They're playing Akron. And if you look at the Akron defensive numbers, 108th in yards per play, 116th in success rate. They're actually not bad against the run, though, which is the only thing NIU can do, or the only aspect of Northern Illinois' offense that I really trust right now is the run game. If you look at the NIU offensive production over the last 7 games, it's pretty clear what's working and what isn't. Over 200 rushing yards per game, 45.9% success rate per rush, 4.65 yards per carry. Look at the passing numbers. 40.1% success rate, 5.44 yards per pass attempt. So no question, this NIU offense has become one-dimensional. They're very reliant on the run. And look at the Akron defense in their last 4 games. 153.3 rushing yards allowed per game, 4.17 yards per carry, 36%. Success rate per rush is very good. That's against Bowling Green, one of the better offenses in the conference, even though they're a passing offense. Western Michigan might be the best rushing attack in the MAC. So it's not like they've played nobody. This Akron run defense is actually not that bad. So there's no way I can lay 15 and a half points in this game. The problem is I can't count on that Akron passing attack working on the road at NIU. So I lean towards Akron. Actually, I think this is an under game. 45 and a half. You can get a 46. So my picks for this game, I haven't bet either of these. Akron plus 15 and a half, under 46. Those are my picks for this game. We'll talk about it on the live show. I'll let you know if I ended up placing any bets. As of right now, they're just leans. If you'd like to see all the bets I have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on open bets. You'll see all mine as well as everyone on the staff here. Also, when you sign up to Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to my daily bet reports, which is basically a summary of all the action I'm looking at for that day. You also get access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150 cash, and one of these trophies go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested, head over to the website and sign up. Live shows 4 p.m. Eastern time. We also just started a midnight college basketball show at midnight Eastern time. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a good one. Please remember to bet responsibly. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me.